Holi is one of the most vibrant, joyful festivals on the planet. But today, we're going to dive into a piece of Indian folklore that takes that celebration and twists it into an absolute nightmare. This is the story of a village with a very, very dark secret.
Right, so when you think of Holi, you probably picture exactly this, these incredible bursts of color, people laughing, dancing. It's all about celebrating good over evil, the coming of spring. It's just synonymous with pure happiness.
But imagine, for a moment, that for an entire community, the approach of Holi didn't bring any of that joy. What if, instead, it brought this creeping, paralyzing dread? Well, that's the mystery we're unpacking today.
And to understand why, we have to start with the village itself and the one terrifying rule that they are all forced to live by.
Just look at how simple and absolute this rule is. This isn't a suggestion, it's not a guideline, it is a matter of life and death. Every single new bride, no exceptions, has to be gone before Holi starts. And the consequence for staying? It's final.
So try to picture the atmosphere here. Instead of getting ready for a party, there's this frantic rush to get people out. Families are saying these hurried, terrified goodbyes, not because of tradition, but because of sheer terror. The air is so thick with fear that just talking about marriage around this time feels like you're asking for trouble.
Now, into this pressure cooker of fear, walk two people who have absolutely no idea what they're stepping into.
Meet Supriya and Gaurav. They're young, they're in love, and they just secretly got married. And they come up with what they think is this brilliant idea. Hey, let's go surprise our best friend Nandini for our very first Holi together as a married couple. It's a plan that's born from nothing but love and friendship.
And this is where you just see these two worlds about to collide hard. For Supriya and Gaurav, this is all about a happy surprise, right? But for Nandini and her family, seeing their newly married friend show up on their doorstep, it's the worst thing that could possibly happen. We're told Nandini's face just goes white with fear. Her friend's arrival isn't a gift, it's a death sentence.
That happy reunion, it evaporates instantly. Nandini's family frantically explains the situation. The village is haunted by this vengeful spirit named Rupa, and she targets and kills any new bride who is stupid enough to be here during Holi. They're pleading with them, basically saying, "You are walking straight into the mouth of death."
Okay, so they're convinced. They get the danger and they agree to leave immediately. But the curse, it seems, has other plans. And this is where the story just dives headfirst into a night of pure terror.
So Gaurav rushes to the car, and in classic horror story fashion, what do you think happens? Of course it won't start. The engine's completely dead. The local mechanic, he's terrified of the night and refuses to come out. That's it. They're trapped. They have to spend the night in the one place they were just warned they should never be.
Later on in the dead, silent house, Gaurav gets woken up by this faint sound, the jingle of anklets. He kind of sleepily thinks it's Supriya, tells her to stop making noise, and then he rolls over, only to find her side of the bed is completely empty. She's just gone.
He looks out the window and sees her, walking barefoot towards his tree. He runs outside, calls her name, puts his hand on her shoulder, and when she turns around, it's not Supriya anymore. Her eyes are frozen wide, and her face is twisted into this grotesque, evil smile. And then the voice that comes out of her mouth is not her own. It's the spirit Rupa speaking through her. And she delivers this chilling promise, a Holi of blood. Gaurav is so terrified, he actually faints right there on the spot.
When Gaurav wakes up, it's chaos. The villagers have managed to tie Supriya up, but she's clawing at her own face, a bloody mess. Then, with some kind of inhuman strength, she just snaps the ropes. And in this horrifying display, she scrambles backwards up a wall, literally defying gravity, before she leaps down, grabs a sharp weapon, and in one swift, awful motion, she ends her own life.
So, in the devastating silence after all that, with Supriya gone, the question is just hanging in the air. Why? Why would this happen? Why such a violent, specific curse? Well, Nandini's family finally reveals the whole tragic story.
You see, this isn't a story about some random evil force. The spirit, Rupa, she was once a woman who lived in this very village.
So, Rupa was deeply in love with a man named Aman. Their plan was to get married right after Holi. But another man, Manoj, was obsessed with her. When he found out about her plans, he betrayed her, telling her family about the secret romance.
On the day of Holi, he confronted her, and she publicly slapped him for it. Well, filled with rage and humiliation, Manoj waited. He ambushed Rupa, knocked her out, and then drowned her in a big tub of water. Her life, her love, her future marriage, all of it was stolen from her on a day of celebration. So her spirit came back, filled with the rage that forever tied Holi, new brides, and her own violent death together.
And that brings us to the story's really grim conclusion. The curse she left behind isn't something that can just be wished away. The family explains that, they've tried everything. They've brought in priests, holy men, they've done all the rituals. But Rupa's spirit, which was born from such a violent injustice, is just too powerful. It can't be reasoned with, it can't be controlled. The only thing they can do is live in fear and obey her one deadly rule.
And so after the festival is over, Gaurav leaves. He's just utterly broken. I mean, can you imagine? What was supposed to be this joyful surprise, a celebration of his new marriage, has become the darkest memory of his entire life, a permanent scar left by this village's curse.
Which leaves us with this final, really unsettling question. The story suggests Rupa's rage isn't just random evil. It's this endless scream against the injustice that she suffered. So, if a haunting is really just a wound that never healed, can you ever truly banish the ghost without first healing that wound? It's a question that definitely sticks with you long after the story's over.